All right. So, when last we saw our heroes, they enjoyed some much deserved, much needed actual R&R upon their return to Lion's Arch. They had a bit of time to themselves before celebrating the first annual Dragon Bash Festival. This was a uh, not necessarily global, but a multinational celebration that had counterparts taking place in each of the capital cities. But the largest and most festive event was held in Lion's Arch, not only to commemorate the fall of the Elder Dragon Zaitan, but to honor the fallen soldiers and those who survived and made their way home. You guys enjoyed a variety of carnival games, had a good time, got to spend some time with old friends, and the culmination of the weekend festival was a Battle of the Bards, which Birdie handily won. We find ourselves now in an unusual place. The calm before the storm would seem too ominous, but an unusual sense of difficult to define emotion, unease, but also excitement. People whispering to one another or loudly shouting in some taverns that the Pact is now confident in its ability to address the Elder Dragon threat. As days pass, you all notice that there is a general sentiment among the citizens of Lion's Arch that this first sort of joint operation from all the intelligent races of Tyria who have come together to form this Pact alliance was a rousing success. The word on the street seems to very clearly be that people feel united, we are stronger. This is the first time this has ever really happened since the Char took over the ruins of Ascalon, pushing the humans out, and the Norn made their way south after being exiled from their old homeland. The Azura, having brokered diplomatic treaties with many of the races upon their arrival on the surface many years ago, were a little more prepared for the what now seems common sense rationality of combining forces makes us more resilient, but people are proud. People are anxious to make more progress, but there is that nagging undercurrent of dread. U6 spearheaded the assault on Or, the kingdom of the undead, and you saw firsthand on the battlefield the harrowing cost of your victory. People now wonder, moving forward, while the battles are necessary, it would seem, for survival, how dear will that cost continue to be with what, 4 Elder Dragons left? Some of whom we don't even know where they are or what their aims are. It's an odd time in Lion's Arch, but also in Kryta at large. You have a handful of days where things are calm, and you have a moment to kind of collect yourselves. Is there anything specific that you would like to accomplish while you're at home? Any inventory management, any people you want to see or speak with, or anything you want to do? And it's okay to say no. I'm just offering.
Um, Petrie would she can do this like once per long rest when you finish a short rest. So she can use her Walker in Dreams feature, which would allow her to cast a few different spells, but she would like to use scrying.
Huh. Okay.
And I need to look up the scry spell. So if someone else has something they want to do, I need to check to
I can
make
tell
sure
you
if I can.
what it does. What are you trying to do?
Um,
You scry on a person or a place that you've been.
okay. And not someone that I'm just like vaguely familiar, like I know they exist.
I believe you can. They just have a bonus to their
Plus
saving
10,
throw.
I think.
I think it's +5.
I think +5 is if you are. Oh yeah,
Because
maybe plus
it
5.
goes like +5, then like plus.
Plus 10
2
might
or
be someone
something.
you've never, like you don't even
Because
know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'd like to scry on the Nightmare Court, but not like just the place. I guess I'm thinking I'd like to scry on Fowlin.
Grand
But like
Duchess
I've
Fowler.
never met them.
Well, aren't you all connected in Silvaria way?
It
I mean,
says
I
it's. Yeah.
I was just trying to fish for you.
Oh, the
That's
max
why I
plus
was
is
like-
+5.
Okay.
But the max minus is -10, Jimmy.
Okay, I guess I'll just totally ask backwards on that.
So yeah, you can scry on someone you've just heard about, and you've heard of Fowlin. She just gets a +5 on her wisdom save.
Okay. Well, she needs to beat a 19. Because it's just my regular spell save, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a 19.
Okay. So one of these days you take your long rest and you go into sort of meditative trance at the end of it, trying to reach out with your consciousness through the dream of dreams and connect to this sister that you've never met. You can feel the connection starting to take hold. You get like a brief flash of rage and like a faint undercurrent of fear. But then the connection is dropped.
Okay. All right. Do I get any sense that it's because she like resisted the scrying outright, or that there was something else blocking my looking, I guess? I guess something that would prevent me from scrying, like magical means, or like she just met the beat the DC.
So roll a d20 and add your wisdom modifier. Are you proficient in Arcana?
I am not.
Okay, so just make a wisdom check.
Oh, well, here's a d20. And then my wisdom modifier is +5, so that would be 23.
Fantastic, yeah. So you are not particularly, like, you're a spellcaster, but it's more intuitive and drawn from your connection through the pale tree with the natural world. So typically rationalizing this sort of thing in a more arcane and studious way is not your forte. But this time, perhaps because this is a Silvari sister, one of the firstborn, in fact, you get the sense that you started to connect and she forced the connection to come to an end. She succeeded on her saving throw.
Okay. That's all I was wondering.
Okay.
I got a little something I'd like to do.
Okay.
Sort of, could be a tail end of downtime sort of thing. I would like to go talk to Tinker and Crane.
Okay.
Yes.
They are in the consortium lab down at the Harbor Ward.
This is gonna be a total curveball. I have not prepped you for this. I want to talk to them and explain to them about, the traveling we've been doing and some of the very specific travel that I've been doing with a very specific wizard in another plane of existence that we haven't even knew was out there before. And to get there is a little confusing and difficult, but if there was a way that we could measure a plane's frequency, we could maybe reproduce it in a fork and get there easier. So I'll talk to them about how can we make a device to measure a plane of existence frequency.
I would say that after it's sort of like a montage approach. There's like 2 or 3 hours that go by, and they're fascinated at the implications. They're immediately excited, and Tinker is just sort of like losing his mind. Crane sort of orders him about, tells him to go make some tea, while Crane wheels out a little chalkboard and starts, making diagrams in the typical Asura fashion. And you guys spend some time drinking tea, maybe nibbling on some biscuits that Tinker made, and he's very proud of them. And they're not bad. But he tells you, you guys find out together, I would say, that having an object from that plane, not just an object that's been there, but like an object native to that plane, would sort of naturally resonate with that frequency, that arcane vibration. So it's not so much an apparatus for, like, you go there, you turn it on, and it does it, but there is a perhaps reproducible experiment in a laboratory where if you were to get a sample, you could do some alchemical work on it and figure out that frequency.
Do we know how big the sample has to be?
I would say for that sort of stuff, like just maybe,
like the size of an acorn?
Don't you dare.
Is it destructive? I mean, if it's destructive, we won't destroy it. But I mean, if it's, I was thinking it's observational.
If Galatar plants it, might be done
it's not a quantum wave. It doesn't destroy it by looking at it. or unless it is.
I would say no. No, this would not be a destructive. It's not like you have to melt it with acid or something to get it to do something. It's more like some specific instruments that would be too cumbersome to lug about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they could examine something. It'd be like an Arcana check probably to get something like that, but not terribly high.
I'll tell them to prep the lab, and after the next adventure, I got an acorn for them to look at.
They are aquiver with anticipation.
Yes. Yeah, so we'll plan more later.
All right.
But yeah, I guess that's what I'm going to be doing. Got an idea.
I had a couple really quick things I wanted to do. One is I wanted to go ahead and use the contingency spell to reset greater invisibility, since that's now gone. Second, I actually was going to talk to Kitri about the seed, so perfect timing. Galatar at one point during the week, it wouldn't really matter when, just kind of go up to Kitri and ask, so I've got this seed that we got Alexa and I in that other dimension. And I don't know much about. We got the seed in another dimension. Another plane of existence. I thought we talked about this. Did we not?
I don't really remember, to be honest. When was this?
When we were.
She's just like, I don't know. I don't listen when you talk.
Probably.
I mean, also she wasn't there when you were dimensioning in the hot tub. I don't think. I don't think she was
No,
there
you weren't
either
there
time.
with us when we went through. I just
They
thought I
did.
told
They
you
did a
before I
little
got
bit
back.
after the tower was done.
I don't. Was I with them when they did that?
No, but I
I don't
thought
know
I
that you
told the
were
group.
with
Maybe I
them.
didn't.
They probably told the group.
But the group
It's
was
okay.
aware.
She doesn't
Yeah.
listen.
She probably just didn't listen. That's fine.
Also true.
But yeah, no, Alexa and I went. It was a whole thing. I'm not going to get into it right now. We can talk about it later. But basically, there was this seed I was given, but I don't know how to plant things or to make them grow. I was wondering if you had any tips on, like, pot sizing or dirt or how much water to use or where to put it. I mean, your
mean-
room is like a giant garden, so
Can I look at it?
yeah, it's just this little seed here.
If I look at it, is there anything that
It's
like
a big
springs?
acorn.
It's a big
Sorry, it's
acorn.
this giant seed here.
Yeah, it's like the size of a walnut almost.
Okay. Is there anything that I'm
Fall
like
off all
I
the trees
recognize?
around Smith.
Do I recognize this? Is there anything about it that I'm like, ah, yes, this looks like something else?
I would say this looks. It honestly, like, it's similar to an oak acorn, but it's not one. It is significantly larger for one. It also has a beautiful sheen, not to the cap but to the shell itself. It's like it almost looks like it's covered in lacquer. Like it's this really beautiful, like, semi-transparent coat over it, and then beneath is like a almost golden, like varnished wood. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like a really well varnished pine table or something. It's beautiful sheen to it. So it is something you've never seen before. It's certainly not native to the Caledon Forest or any part of Kryta that you've been to.
Well, not really sure what type of tree this is. I guess honestly, like, I don't know if I would say plant this now, and because sometimes plants need, like, they'll grow during certain times of the year. You could certainly try, like, germinating it. Oh, Miss Page. Oh.
A whole
I
new
think
hairstyle.
she's frozen. She hasn't
Yeah.
blinked in.
Oh,
She's
that's
frozen
actually
and
kinda
she's
funny.
really
I
committed.
love it. I'm take a picture of this. It's stuck like that for
I
at least
will
5
wait
minutes.
until you respond to me.
Yeah.
I know. I also was very committed. I was like, damn, she's good.
Yeah, I was like, wow, she is focused.
Hollywood
Oh, no.
up in here.
That's so funny.
That is fucking great.
But I guess if you want to try to grow it, you could just take this, here you can have this pot, and, I guess you can have some of this dirt, here. And she just, like, gives you a little pot that's got some dirt in it, and, I suggest, don't plant it too deep, and, throw some water on there and put it by a window and maybe wait. I don't know. Is it magic?
I mean, it's from a different plane of existence. I don't know if that would qualify as magic. I would assume it does not follow the same rules of our plane, but I do not know.
Well, then maybe it won't grow like, how the plants here grow. I have no clue.
Well, I mean, can you, like, do... Oh,
Make
God.
another wisdom check for me.
Ooh, a 21.
Okay. As you're holding this and talking to Galatar and trying to consider how best to start the growth of a new tree, first it occurs to you that it is a very large acorn or seed, so it's probably going to be, in time, a very large tree. But while you're holding it, there is just this very slight, very faint, it's not even a sound so much as a feeling you get. It's just sort of like intermittent thrum.
Whoa, do you feel that? Has it been doing this whole time?
Feel
It's
what?
just like once, and then nothing. And as you talk, one more.
Here, just like, and I'll just like cup my hand around his hand holding the acorn. Does it keep doing it?
Galatar, make a wisdom check.
That's a 6.
Yeah, you're kind of startled at the moment that Pretty Kitri has taken your hands. Your own pulse quickens. But,
Of course.
you don't feel
He's
anything.
cheating. Oh God.
Yeah, play me palms.
But Kitri, you do feel another.
Well, it's definitely doing something. It's alive.
Second chance.
I don't really know what to tell you. Yeah. There might be someone who's better versed in. Oops, she's back.
Heyo.
Peter's so slow.
You got stuck in the best position.
I know, Alex sent me the picture. I shit you not, as soon as I like turned on the camera button, I went, and then it just went straight to black. I was like, come on. I was
was
like,
perfect.
the big hair reveal ruined.
It actually made it better.
Our seats.
Oh, we
no,
got
it
it.
was-
We got a very long,
Yeah.
picture of the hair.
We thought you were just like waiting until you were acknowledged. Like you were like, I'm not moving from this pose until people talk.
Said everybody's gotta know. Anyways, we got it done. It looks great. Jimmy
That looks
Amanda
nice.
says hi. I love that you guys got to hang out.
Yes.
Yesterday. Your
Hey, I
hair
got my
looked
hair
great.
cut yesterday. Yeah.
Look at us. Who'd have thought? Anyway,
It was freaking hilarious.
she was like, "Yeah, Jimmy says hi." I was like, "Oh, yeah." Anyways, apologies for my tardiness. I also stopped to get food.
Not a
I'm
problem.
excited.
Was it Taco Bell?
You know what, Mary? It was Taco Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I missed that. The nacho fries are back.
Oh, they are?
Part of a balanced breakfast. A nacho
Absolutely.
fry.
Maybe that should work.
So yeah,
This
I'm a big-
improvised roleplay session brought to you by our
Mm.
wonderful sponsors, Taco Bell. No, I'm just kidding. We don't have
And-
sponsors.
Sponsor us. So.
please Taco Bell.
Yeah, you don't have to
Really,
give us
though.
much money. Just give us some free food.
We get that Taco Bell sponsor money. Game over, guys.
Oh, gosh.
I just want a
Coupons.
case. Just give me a quesarito and I'd be like set.
Damn straight, shorty.
No,
Bro.
but yeah. Sorry, Galatar. I don't know much to tell you. Whatever you have here, though, is very special. So take good care of it.
So if it's going to be a tree, should I not put it like in this pot? Is it okay not to plant a seed like this right away? Like, do you normally have to plant seeds quickly?
I mean, it depends. Sometimes they're fine for a while. I mean, they're made to like withstand the like outdoors. Like if they just, crumbled away when they just, first came out, that they probably wouldn't be very good for the trees. I think it's fine, but if you try planting it in the little pot, like you can always transplant it as it gets bigger. And eventually, like, it'll take a couple years, but it would eventually need to be put outside. Also, it might grow faster than I'm anticipating. I mean, again, I don't really know. So if you need a bigger pot sooner, come back. Or maybe we just plant it outside, but like, I don't want to put it outside because I don't want anything to happen to it.
Yeah, I don't want to like plant it and then leave.
Yeah, why don't you just here, and she'll just drag out like a bigger like planter, and it's just like, here, why don't you take this one?
I don't think I can lift that.
Just here, I'll help you scoot it to your room.
Okay, maybe I'll wait to plant it until like we get back and we have some more time.
Up to you.
This seems like a lot more work than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like you just planted so many inches in the dirt and then you just put so much water per day on it and it needs the exact right amount of sunlight, like that, like a formula.
I mean, it's hard to say because I don't know. Like, I would say there is maybe a formula, but I don't know what this is, and I don't know what it's going to do, so I can't really tell you
point.
something.
Okay, maybe I'll just hold on to the seed, because then at least if
Maybe
you're
if you
there,
talk to it or
You think?
something. I don't
okay, I'll
know.
try talking to
I
it.
guess I can technically communicate with plants. I don't know if I could speak to an acorn.
Certainly try.
Sweet talk
Why
that
don't you come back tomorrow when when I prepare myself to speak with plants?
Okay, how about you do it, yeah, tomorrow, because I need to run over and see Countess Anissa and Roland anyway.
Okay.
Which brings me to the third thing I wanted to do, which was when I went to go see Countess Anissa and Roland, I wanted to ask if they had any of those, like, sun blades, that Galatar might be able to utilize.
I apologize for not responding to that message now that you say that, and I remember you sent it.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I have slept most of the last 2 days.
I'm just glad you're at least feeling well enough to function, period.
So am I. Yeah, COVID
That's not
sucks. So Anise would tell you that the prism blades that they use are specially created as part of the initiation into the order.
Okay.
They do not have like a training blade they can just toss your way at this time.
Gotcha. Okay.
If there is anyone in the world who sympathizes with wanting to play his Jedi fantasy in D&D, it is this guy.
You know, well, the problem is I've been playing KOTOR, and that's just really got me on the kick of wanting to be a Jedi, right?
Honestly, it's hard in multi-year campaigns because like you want to do something different. It's hard to play the
Yeah.
same guy for so long.
Yeah, and it just seems like such a fun use of the blade, you know? Like, I like Omen, but you just want to mix it up every once
all
in a
day, every day.
while. But yeah, that covers it for the things I need to do. So I am all good. Oh, I was gonna ask the group, like, do we need to get anything else for Heroes Feast or anything like that? Do we need any additional supplies before we set out again? Potions, any of that kind of stuff?
Oh, I think I used a potion, didn't I?
I have
do.
one bowl or chalice for Heroes Feast,
Oh, okay, great.
so we're good for one.
I could use
How-
a greater healing.
How is everybody on potions? So Alexa needs a greater healing. I think I've done to one regular.
Use any.
Yeah, I don't have any healing potions, but I also heal pretty well, so
That's true.
I think I'm good
I
on
feel like I'll
potions.
be alright. What could possibly go wrong?
Famous last words.
Would I be able to purchase a regular healing potion or two prior to us leaving? Maybe just one. Do we have any reserves?
Is there any
I
left
would
in the
say-
town?
I have
yeah,
two
that's
regular
the thing.
potions of healing and one supreme or superior. Which
Do you
one
have a
is it?
supreme or superior healing potion?
I have a supreme potion of healing.
Supreme. That's the big daddy.
Could I just have a regular, just to have one on my person?
I would say that using your connections with the less than public-facing market, you would be able to find one potion of greater healing at Melody Marshgrass's establishment.
Bloody marshgrass sucks, bro.
Something she has squirreled away and has not given to the Pact.
I mean, if we have enough downtime, Petrie would have enough time to theoretically make maybe one regular, but I don't know how long we're saying the downtime.
Yeah,
is.
you could make a couple with your kit if you want. So like
Oh.
25 gold to make one, and it takes a day. So if you
I
want
thought
to
it took a week.
It's a week for a greader, I think. Day for
Oh, I
Oh
thought it
yeah,
took
a week for a greater. I think it's only a day for a basic.
Yeah, I think a basic is a day.
Because like 250 in a week for a grader, something like that, and then 25 in a day for a.
You know,
I
it
could
would be
have
helpful.
one regular from the reserves. That would be
I
great.
would actually just like a cherry flavored potion, please.
No, I don't want it to
But
heal.
yeah.
I just want cherry.
Yeah, I get really hungry
you.
out there.
I'll make. I don't know.
Did they make
5
aromatic
regular
potions?
potions
You
of
just, like-
healing.
Just smelling salts to get people back up when they get knocked out.
What was your
Does
question,
nothing about
Mary?
your crush. It's fine.
Oh, I was just saying, I guess I'll just say I can make 5 potions of healing. And, well, I don't need one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I'll make 5 potions of healing. Over the time frame, and I'll make sure that everyone else has at least one. And Kala said she didn't need one. I'll give the extra to Brina.
Yeah, I guess I'll take
Alright.
Melody's, because actually I want to go talk to her anyway.
I'll take one of your regulars because I realized I do have a greater, but I don't have a regular.
Question.
So everyone, so Alexa, Galatar, Birdie, and Brina all get regular potions of healing, and just Brina gets 2.
Wow. Thank you. I so appreciate it. I don't know where we are because I clearly hopped in willy-nilly. I do
Couple
have...
of days in Lion's Arch.
Okay. If there
Or,
was a
if you
good-
want to take a gate somewhere, if there's anything you want to accomplish.
There's one thing I would like to accomplish, but we can go whenever. It's small.
Go right ahead.
The Norn bookkeep in our neighborhood. Would she have, and I can't think of her name,
Helga.
would Elga have a copy of
Mm-hmm.
A Crocatorid Affair? And I will pull any string. I will ask any
Helga Page Turner at the Bookworm's Bounty.
question.
And
Micro.
smut lover down the street.
You know she's secretly into all those books.
She's got autographed first editions.
Hang on just a second.
This has become like my Pokemon. Like this, I have to catch.
There's
Yeah.
like 10 of them?
Yeah.
12?
Something like that, yeah.
And she ought to be able to sell you this book. I spent thousands of gold at her shop. She ought to be able to do something nice for you.
We also
She's single-handedly putting her
City.
kids through college.
I know, I love that inordinate amount of like, you gave her thousands of gold, she could retire fucking instantly.
Yeah, she actually wasn't into smut novels before she had all the money, but now that she's rich and secure,
Right. She doesn't matter. Our shop is novelties now. It doesn't matter what she imports. Oh man, I love D&D economy. It's great
it's
to
gonna be
think
so
about.
sad when we all die.
I'm dying of natural causes. Sorry.
Hey, if I get lucky, I'm never dying.
Oh, that's true.
When you ask Helga about books by Snarl Goldclaw, the infamous Char romance novelist, she gives you a sly look. When you mention Crocatorid Affair, she looks around the shop and goes, shh, make sure the shop is empty, and she kind of hustles over. As much as a Norn can hunch, you know, she hunches down to about 6 feet tall. Her long black shawl kind of draped over her, almost like raven's wings. Her kind of steel gray hair tied in a tight braid at her back. She rushes over to the door, closes it delicately, looking out into the street to make sure no one's looking in. And she turns around. I've been looking for a copy of that book for ages.
You're
I don't
kidding.
have that. I don't have Crocatorid Affair. But
What?
I do have something I think you'll be interested in.
Helga,
She
tell me
hustles
more.
back over behind her counter, and you hear her digging around in a drawer, tinkling of metal, and she comes up with a little key ring. Aha! One moment. She gets down on one knee and like reaches down, and you hear the turning of the metal key. She digs around a little bit out of your sight behind the counter. You hear, and she puts down in front of you not a bound leather book, but what looks like loose parchment manuscript.
Oh my god. Is this her own fanfiction?
Yeah.
This must remain between us. Yes?
Absolutely.
This is a rough draft of Snargle's next work.
You are joking.
It's a manuscript.
You're kidding. Do you
I
know
got it from
her?
a friend. Snargle is a gentleman of refined taste.
Somehow that makes me feel weirder, but whatever. Interesting.
He lost this in a bet, and through various channels it has come to me. It might pique your interest. And she turns it around to you and slides it over. You can see the title is a manuscript, Svan Song, by Snargle Goldclaw.
Snargle.
Wow.
If you like, I have read it. I was going to add it to my own private collection, but if you're interested, I'm always willing to sell to the discerning collector.
I mean, I would be more than happy to just borrow it, but yeah, well, for a price. Come on, you run a place of business, but you know, can't. I finished up the Destiny's Pledge the other day. Am I right?
Wasn't it just divine?
The one cell and the one caught in the cell. I mean, come on.
Those poor men. How difficult their lives must have been.
But to
Until
find
they found true love.
to
my
find
face.
trust in one another in the most dire of circumstances really was something powerful. So, I just can't get enough of it right now. So yeah, Goldclaw and I can't believe he's a man. Right.
I let you have it for half price.
Okay.
75 gold.
Deal. Not a question.
She
I've got to go to the bank before we leave.
eagerly takes your coin.
So,
Spawn song.
what's like the chance she's gonna read smut about her brother?
No.
It is not about Halvar.
It's just about the sons of
It
Svan.
is about a son of Svanir.
Named Balvar.
As you kind of flip through in the following nights, you catch a passage. Frist tried to chill his heart, but he couldn't stop the heat rising in his cheeks. He was a good Svanir. He never questions the teachings of his shaman. Always gave women the cold shoulder, knowing they were unworthy of dragon. But that was before Brina. Brina and her skilled hand and icy taunts and her smile. Burning questions exposed cracks in long frozen ideals. What was this strange, molten feeling rising in the pit of his stomach? Was everything he'd been taught a lie? He was beginning to see that maybe he should rest. I can sleep now too. We can dream together beneath the ice. Let's rest just for a while. Let's give up. All of us together, sleeping forever. I think I'll lie down.
Okay. I would like to go back to Helga page
Not
2.
about yourself!
I think no. Okay. Okay.
Literally from the game.
No.
BRENNA.
No.
That's meant to be.
Those
That's
ones pre-done.
It's a
great.
No. You played
So
a
as you-
long fucking con here, Mr. Radkins.
I didn't
The
choose
whole
your name.
campaign building up to this one memory.
Oh my god. 17 levels for this payoff. It's
That's
worth
it, guys. This was it. This was the whole campaign.
Yeah, this was
How you know you're a
part of the
major
joke
hero
right here.
when they start writing fanfics about you.
Yes.
So you gather that this is a tragic romance tale that as this Svanir starts to question the teachings of Dragon, the whispers of Jormag twist his mind until he lays himself down beneath the ice and dies.
Oh.
His love unrequited for the fiery warrior maiden.
No wonder it's unrequited. She's gay.
Right?
Even though
Duh, bro.
Okay, I didn't want to go into this further. However, I would like to return to Helga Page Turner's. Because I feel like it's probably a quick read. And with that tragedy.
Can I return this, please? I no longer wish to own this.
The sudden change of events.
Does the. Okay, because. And I'm asking this. Because the canon of the world that we have decided to inhabit gets a little silly. It's too, because if it was written about Brina, because Brina's name is Brina and the character's name is Brina, if it was a parody, her name would be like Greena or something.
it did not use your epithets or surnames or anything like that, and it didn't
Right.
mention
Surely
the Trollskull
this is a
6.
different famous.
This has got to be a different one.
This is
Yeah.
Brana.
Brina
she's
is like
Brina.
it's not
Yeah.
an uncommon Norn name.
No,
It's like Helga.
It's a rough draft too. Maybe he
It's
just
a-
hasn't
there's-
changed it.
Yeah, it hasn't been
Changed
published.
it. He puts the original name in and then goes back. Greena.
Control F replace.
Control F replace.
Corona.
We get-
Oh yeah.
if she can return to Helga Page Turner's and ask if she could be put in touch with her friend who got a copy of the manuscript, Brina would like to write a letter to Mr. Snargle Goldclaw.
She
Perhaps
tells
I'm
you
a
that
fan.
the manuscript came to her by a series of owners and events that very serendipitously placed it in her possession. She does not have a direct connection to Snargle.
How do I get a hold of Snargle?
As you mentioned wanting to send him a letter, she tells you that he is famous for being a recluse. People say he has an assistant that does most of his like errand running and goes in public when he travels, to the point where like he even travels in like a covered carriage so that people don't see that it's him.
I just got a new mission. Alright. We'll fucking see. We'll fucking see. I've got a fan letter to write. Before this bitch hits the printers, her name's gonna be Brana. Something else. I'm being
Turns out-
slandered.
Kala's actually just feeding inside information to this guy about Brina for the sake of the book. It
Plot
talks about
twist.
all her baubles.
Snargle Goldclaw is Kala.
This whole time, the greatest con of all.
God damn.
Oh
Well,
my god.
Which would make sense because how did we meet Kala? Through Birdie? We just believed she helps him. I mean, who's to say they didn't know each other from these books?
I'm literally
This seems like
so
something Birdie'd
troubled.
be into.
I'm so troubled. It's good. That was a good one. Okay. That's the only thing I wanted to do for this
Okay.
downtime period.
all fun and games until
Came back to burn, yeah.
It's all fun till you're in the fanfic. I was hoping it'd be. This one's way more sad,
I
too.
love it when you guys give me things that I can use. Even better when I look up the stuff on the wiki and it's like, oh, my player's name. That's cool.
Fuck.
I do have one other thing we need to do as a group, which is, and this is usually the Brina roll anyway, to roll for the tavern.
haven't
Because
done
I
that
don't
in a
think
long
we've
time.
done that for this past week of time. We
So,
did it before we left.
At this point, you guys have more money than God.
Yeah,
If you
can
want,
we just
like,
let
we
it
could
be a
just say that
self-sustaining?
it's like it is a self-sustaining business effectively, and Tim's kind of been like running it. So we'll just say like you don't go into debt, and you don't earn like crazy profit either. Because I think the maximum profit you can earn is like 75 gold or something like that.
Right, I need to know
It's
how
never
our
a lot.
establishment does. Okay, like are we
Oh, no,
popular
that's
with
what's
the
like-
people?
It's banging. Yeah, no, it is
Okay.
like #1 tavern in town. It is the Trollskull Tavern. Yeah, the
I'm not
list
saying
of
that.
shit you
Poorly
guys have hanging in the
mismanaged that
bar
we
is
never
insane.
see
You have the
profits.
skull of an ice dragon champion as a liquor luge.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
you know,
We do.
I'm not saying I live for bad D&D economy businesses, but you know, there's a certain thrill of D&D economies. And well, can I put 75 gold into our like party fund? This is mostly for our party fund money.
Oh, as
Like,
profit? No. No.
50?
Just,
How
just
much?
like
What
it
am I-
is. It is self-sustaining. You're doing fine. You guys have more money than like we don't really need to play that mini game anymore. It is self-sustaining. You're paying Tim very well. We'll say that if there's a period where he gets high profit, to maybe hire in a couple attempts to help him serve, because it's just like him and the ghost at this point.
Mhm.
Him and
And
Leaf.
2 robots.
Ah, I forgot
That's
about
true.
the second robot.
Grimace? Is that
No,
Grimace?
my valet.
No, that's a whole different
Yeah, I was gonna
one.
say
Yeah.
Grimace can't serve people. That guy's got blade arms.
Grimace is huge.
Dude,
yeah,
Grimace
that's
serving would
big.
be hilarious, though.
He
He's like in
accidentally
the back
stabs
chopping up
customer.
meat.
Mm.
Oh,
That'd be
for
pretty cool.
record keeping, I'm gonna exchange some money at the bank.
Cool.
Shorty, what you think?
Ooh, ooh, wee, ooh.
You said Alexa wants to go to
Melody.
Melodies?
Yes. How much is the potion? The greater healing, first off.
Let me see.
I always forget.
Goods and services. Greater 250.
Okay. So I'll give her the 25 platinum right off the bat. And then I need some drugs, yo.
Illicit substances. Alrighty.
Obviously, I need some moon moss.
20 gold a dose.
I'll get a pair of those.
We'll say. Yeah, she's got 3 in stock.
Yeah, I'll just take 2. How about some dream leaf?
She's got 4 doses of that, 5 gold each.
I'll just take 2 of those.
Okay.
So we're at 50 gold. And so what else has she got? Anything special or hot? It's been a war. Is anything spicy turned up? New addictions on the block?
She has 1 dose. She says that some of her contacts from the Grove recently swung through town. And they dropped off some fancy cap.
Oh, yes.
Which
Absolutely.
is 100 gold a dose.
I remember those.
She's got 1.
It's alright. I give her
Got some
150 gold.
edibles. Tight, tight. She appreciates your business in as saucy a way as she can.
I tell her I appreciate hers as well. And I'll see her when I get back.
Alright, alright. Is there anything anyone else would like to accomplish? Alright. So, a couple of days go by. You all are able to really take a moment. Oh, Galatar, do you want to read any more of the journal?
Oh yes, please.
I forgot
Just
that
another
today.
hour a day.
So I think this will be enough days to finish it.
Okay.
So you learn that in time, Garen mastered this artifact, the Hand of Virata, and through it gained abilities that he'd never dreamed of. He talks about striking things and freezing them, being able to cast spells that he'd never had access to before, but it also sort of corrupted the area around him and had other sort of unforeseen effects. Interestingly enough, he starts to note that the spirit of Virata whispered to him, guiding him as he searched for ever greater power, ultimately leading him to a long-abandoned tower floating in the sky near Keswick's Peak, a place of ancient magical strength, a little north of the Crichton coast. You then learn that, as you continue reading, he began an all-consuming quest for power once he took control of this tower. He was always searching for powerful items, but especially the eye. Eventually, he gained full control of the tower and was able to move it to a secluded fjord with a small fishing village that he could use to feed his hunger. In time, he learned to integrate himself into their society as a benevolent overlord, hunting bandits and wanderers in the nearby hills at night, appearing as a gracious benefactor at times of celebration and merriment in the growing town. The final tidbits describe a time that he was very nearly discovered by the king of Krita, King Roderick, sought his aid in designing the orrery at the High Garden in Divinity's Reach. He did such a good job, the king gave him a title and a fiefdom. And you know, being a Crichton, that the region around Garenhof is called the Wizard's Fief. So he's like officially lord of that land, ruling on
So
behalf
he
of the
didn't
monarchy.
pay taxes.
It would seem not.
Son of a bitch.
He kind of lost himself in the work, designing and building this orrery, and he reveled in hunting the darkest city streets and was very nearly caught several times. Once he even had to teleport home to his tower as the sun broke the horizon, scalding him terribly. Since that time, he stayed much closer to the tower unless the need was severe. Always searching for powerful magical items, and always interested in meeting powerful travelers to the town. And checking their baggage, just in case these powerful heroes might have the eye.
And when you say eye, do you specifically mean the Eye of Janthir?
The Eye of Virata.
The Eye of Virata, okay.
The other artifact that was... he learned about it through questioning the cultists that he killed.
That manuscript that described how to do the soul binding, did that look like it would have been too old for somebody of Virata's time to have written it, or would the dating of that?
I would say, being home now and having access to the Temple of Cormyr and high-ranking priory officials, if you're willing to share that with them and get information, you are able to deduce that it is written in the language of the Marganites, which for our intents and purposes is infernal. It's the order of fiendish creatures that served the fallen god Abaddon after he was banished from the world and sealed in the realm of torment. So
Okay.
it would probably predate Virata.
Got you. But that also means it's not written by the seers who built the tower. Okay. Gotcha.
Something he probably came across in his search for powerful magical objects.
You need to stick that in the machine that detects the wavelengths.
And I can't remember last time, did you say, like, is it known what happened to Virata? Like, I mean, I know about his fall and stuff, but is it known, like, what happened to him once he became this hugely antagonistic figure? Like, was he killed by a hero of some kind? Or...
Yes. Yeah, that was in one of the earlier pieces, but it's been a minute since we talked about it. So the necromancer Virata, when he broke away from the Church of Grenth, he fled into the wilderness on the western edge of Krita, in basically what is now like the Kessex Hills region, the southern portion of Queensdale, which is the kind of province that borders Divinity's Reach.
Mhm.
It's kind of swampy lowlands that feeds into sort of rolling hills. He and his followers lived there for quite some time, and the region, the Kessex Hills region, developed a bad reputation at the time for the presence of undead and nasty creatures and dark goings on. It was people, like civilized people, didn't go there.
Mhm.
But before the White Mantle were outed as being like wicked and cruel, when they were seen as like the heroes of Kryta and the protectors, like everybody thought they were like these paladins just full of righteousness and good intent. In part, some of them were, and one of them, Justiciar Galrath, tracked down Virata and did battle and murdered him, like brought justice to him, and the fight was so intense that all that was left of Virata was his hand and his eye.
And did Justiciar himself survive the fight?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's sort of like gone out in a blaze of glory.
Gotcha. Huh. Okay. Yeah, upon completion of the text too, I will, because I wouldn't let, I guess, them see directly the text. I would want to take that back to Grandfather Zatembe and his friend who's the collector to take it back to the Derman Priory without it being like public or well-known knowledge, so that it can be housed safely with the hand. Just so that, you know, nobody comes across it and is inspired to try and locate these items of power that our lunatic kind of raves about.
Absolutely. Yeah, they happily take it, and the next time, the Grandfather Zatembe would just tell you that next time someone goes to the Priory, which is like every other day sort of occurrence, they will take it and put it in the special collections.
Okay.
All right. Did everybody identify all the items they've got? No more bookkeeping to do? Cool. Okay, so a couple of days pass, things quiet down. You notice that there is a constant activity at the harbor district. There are ships moored at every dock. There's very little room. The harbor itself is jam-packed with ships being repaired, being provisioned and supplied. You watch contingents of Asura come through gates and even out of the consortium offices where Tinker and Crane are located to work on these ships, and you can see them outfitting them with these new rigs that will turn them into airships. And the work, you know, it's kind of slow going, but it progresses. Eventually, you are called to the Crow's Nest Inn and Tavern. They send the always familiar Lion Guard escort, who's not
Mortimer?
Mortimer.
Yeah, there he is.
So
Hello,
near
guys.
dear.
Yes.
Always good to see you. Marshal Traherne would very much like to see you all at the Crow's Nest, if you got a minute.
Any time for you, Mortimer. Morty.
Oh, shucks. Always good to see you too, Miss Brenner.
Yes, well, thanks, Morty. All right.
Eventually, you find yourself in the familiar council chambers with the familiar counselors, the leaders of the Orders of Tyria, gathered around the central table, which has a map of the Crichton continent. Marshal Traherne, the leader of the Pact, this joint military operation, is there. General Almora Soulkeeper, the leader of the Vigil, the sort of melee and physical soldiery, the heavily armored fist of the Pact, so to speak, is present. There's a couple of adjutants kind of running around. Dorn Velasquez, the Lightbringer of the Order of Whispers. For a change, not standing in the shadows, but standing in what looks like golden, like filigreed half plate with red cloth, like a dark crimson accent for his tabard or scapular. Stands talking with General Soulkeeper and gesturing to the map. Steward Gix, the steward of the Derman Priory, is standing on a stool so that he is also at a good operating height on this table. Just kind of standing with one hand pressed against his chin, brows knitted in contemplation as he listens. His floppy Asuran ears kind of perked up, listening. There are a couple of faces around that you don't recognize, but they're all wearing either priory robes or whispers robes, or some sort of armor that has the silver and black theme of the vigil. Flanking the door are a couple of Lion Guard. They're sort of like gold and brown themes. The long overcoats and the tricorn hats give them away. As you all walk in, the marshal looks up, sees all of you, and says, "Ah, my friends. It is good to see you again. I apologize for the short notice, but it has been an eventful couple of days. How are you? Have you taken time to rest? Are you recovered from your ordeals in Or?"
Yeah, we're great.
Vacation was kind of not
Nothing to report.
really. Is that what we're gonna say?
That's what I'm saying.
You might have heard that I won I was actually crowned recently, the
Okay. Well,
King of
cool.
the Bards, so...
I won the
did.
contest where you pick up the rocks. So
I managed to catch your performance. It was very well done.
Nothing happened at a wizard tower.
Thank you.
Oh yes, I've heard of that. I was referring to the period afterward.
Ah,
That's when I was crowned.
Big news travels very quickly here. I believe Steward Gix has been making some progress on that front, now that you mention it. And the steward kind of like continues thinking for a moment before he snaps out of a reverie and turns and sees you all as though he hadn't noticed your entry. Oh, hello. Yes, the tower. Yes, we are conducting a joint operation with the Shining Blade and the Seraph. They will be reinstituting crown control of the city of Garenhof, but some of our magisters, as well as some of Queen Jenna's own practitioners, will be investigating the tower and securing it for future plans. There have been several ideas floated around for what to do with it at this point, but a decision has yet to be made.
that was a really good pun.
Thank you. It's like very matter of fact, but he did intend it. Traherne just continues and says, "Well, I called you here today to discuss our next steps. The fight against Zaitan went better than any of us could have predicted. We faced heavy losses, but the part you played has not been and will not be forgotten or minimized. In fact, we think we've hit upon a rather winning strategy. The Pact can best be used to distract or otherwise engage large forces of the enemy, allowing you to go in and do what it is you do best." At that point, General Almora kind of wiggles a dagger out of the wood of the table. "Fuck things up," and sheathes it in a sheath at her side.
I was thinking bicker with each other, but that works too.
"I don't judge your style. Only results matter."
That is good.
"Indeed," Traherne says. "I will be forthcoming. I am not an unbiased party here. I believe that our next course of action should be to investigate the goings-on in the Maguuma jungle. The effect the jungle dragon is having on my homeland, particularly on the pale tree. And you see, like, insofar as a Silvari can blush, his color flushes slightly. Traherne himself has a dark, kind of greenish tint to his skin. I would be lying if I said my concern was not personally motivated. But all things being equal, we do have an idea of at least what direction or region in which to find this creature. The councillors and I were just having a discussion to that effect. You may have seen the ships in the harbor being outfitted. It will take us some time to make preparations, but even with the considerable fortunes of the merchant princes and the governments of our 5 capital cities behind us, we do not have enough airships to carry the full complement of our Pact forces. In order to reach the Maguuma, we shall have to pass here, and he kind of points to the map. It's a region to the west of the Kessex Hills, before you reach the Maguuma jungle. This area is known as the Silver Wastes. Some time ago, your people, and he points to the humans in the room, called it the Silver Wood. The Shining Blade once took refuge there, when they were hiding from the White Mantle. It was an ideal place for their sort of guerrilla warfare. Since that time, however, with the Shining Blade reclaiming their rightful place as the protectors of the Crichton throne, their old fortresses have been abandoned, such as they were. Countess Anise has been kind enough to give me what little intelligence has survived the centuries. I believe most of what they had prepared were fortified caves, palisade walls, and very little else to maintain the camouflage that the jungle provided them. Since that day, the Silver Wood is no more. Now the Silver Wastes are a desolate land of canyons, sand, desert scrub, difficult to traverse, even more difficult to navigate without becoming lost. A labyrinthine maze of steep-walled stone canyons. This is one of the reasons that in the past it served so well for hiding the tracks of the Shining Blade. However, we believe, based on what intelligence we are able to access, that passing through the Silver Wastes, we shall find a path that descends from the high mesas down into the deep Maguuma below. The Maguuma jungle itself is a lush, very humid ecosystem at the bottom of some of these steep canyons. It stretches out to the west after all the water from the highlands washes down through them. Eventually it empties into the sea, but the waters around that region are treacherous, extremely difficult to navigate. And you can be seen for hundreds of miles on your approach. We believe that passing through the canyons will provide us some cover, give us the much-needed element of surprise. To that end, our goal is to secure a high position overlooking this descent into the jungle as a staging ground for our operation. We are very fortunate in that we have one member of our team who has been there before. She was somewhat reluctant to share in this adventure, but recently has come around and agreed to travel with you. I believe you know my sister Kate. You will be traveling with her to scout out the entrance to the Maguuma marking safe passage for us through the canyon lands with magical chalks. The bulk of our Pact forces must move on foot. Find and mark us a safe passage through those canyons, and we will follow a day or two behind you, as the terrain and the size of our column demands. Kaith tells me she's been to this region once before, and reports that it is as desolate as reports say. There are pockets of vegetation, but I'm told there are no more civilized threats in that region. But should you have questions, I'm sure Kate would be willing to answer in greater detail. I believe she will be arriving in town soon. I don't suppose you've seen her today. Curious. In any case, I'm certain she will find you when she's ready. Does all of this make sense so far?
Yeah, did she give like an approximate on how long that journey would take?
It will take many days of travel to reach that location.
Right.
Even more if the Pact is to follow on foot. A marching of an army this size has not happened since the days of Kryta's founding.
Right.
Fortunately, the roads from here to the western edge of Kryta should be easy enough to traverse, and we should make
Right.
decent time. Once we reach the boundaries of that province, things will get more difficult. There are old paths, but not many. So the going will be slow.
Well, I think we've got enough water skins stored away, so it shouldn't be an issue. Great.
You're sure the Silvari are okay with this and fully behind it? It just seemed like lately with everything that's happened and Mordremoth coming out of his slumber, things have been a little, I guess I would say, weird over there. Like it seemed like it was a big deal and then suddenly it wasn't. That makes sense.
Oh, no, it was a very big deal. My people are terrified. They are unable to remedy that situation at the moment. There's very little they can do directly, although they are shoring up defenses in the grove. The wardens are on high alert, patrols have increased, and we will be recruiting actively in the next few weeks in all the capital cities, including the grove. Silvari are flocking to our banners, eager to volunteer to face the dragon. Anyone who dares present such a threat to our mother has quite a reckoning on his hands.
Okay, thank you. Also, do we know, like, is it known what turned the forest into this, like, desert-ish?
Guessing a battle.
At that point, well, if you say that,
Well, I didn't know if, like, I would already know, because I don't know if that's, like, a well-known thing within Crichton
we
history
would
or not.
Mm.
Okay, then I would ask, yeah.
Yeah. So, Lightbringer Velasquez actually speaks up, which is a rarity. And he says, unfortunately, this is not information that is easy to uncover. The Shining Blade, they never wrote down information. They acted in small cells, isolating information and passing it important details only through word of mouth, lest one of them be captured. We know that up to a point it was a very verdant place, rich with life, full of flowing water. What few reports from travelers and bandits that we could find, based on things that the Seraph or the Wardens or even the Asuran peacemakers had uncovered in their raids through hidden wilderness strongholds of outlaws and people who really had no business being there. It seems that over the last 2 centuries, it is as though the very vitality of the land has been drained from it. We do not know a source, although it would stand to reason if the Elder Dragon's influence can be felt there that it could be at the root of this, but we are not certain. You're muted.
I suppose it would make sense if they absorb such vitality as they awaken in order to strengthen themselves. Would not be an
Well,
hidden unknown.
he kind of turns and looks at Gix, who then turns to all of you and says, wow, Elder Dragons feed on magical energy. So far as we've seen, they don't consume the life energy of growing things, although they can corrupt it and change it physically. If this dragon is capable of siphoning the life force of living creatures, that puts it in a whole different class. That would be something that we very much need to investigate and put a stop to.
And can you share the records that Anish shared with you, any of those maps or anything else? Would we be able to look at any of like the loose collection of evidence or things that you have before we depart?
So Velasquez nods to Traherne and walks over to a different table and opens a drawer with a little key, brings out just a single parchment tube, pulls out a couple of sheets of paper, and it's not maps so much as like written accounts from Shining Blades, almost like they're given in deposition to a superior officer about things that happen. So it's not even like direct information about like, this is what you'll find here. It's like, when we fought X, we were at the end of the High Canyon, this is what happened, and you kind of get ancillary information about the environment.
Yeah, well, we're waiting on Kate then or whatever else is going on after this. If they'll allow it, Galatar will make copies of those things, so that we, as we're traveling, can try and kind of denote or piece together different locations, if that makes sense.
Sure. While you guys are sitting there doing that, or while Galatar starts to make copies, and Velasquez will help you so you can copy like more pages more quickly. Traherne says, I would request your assistance in another matter. Before we can undertake this endeavor, we need to repair our ships and greatly replenish our numbers. Over the next few weeks, I would like to send each of you to your home capital cities to help with recruitment drives, to work with people, to present them with something heroic, to inspire them. Help bring more people to our cause. If you're willing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. I shall have a representative meet with you by the end of the day.
Well,
Alexa starts channeling her inner birdie, trying to think of ideas.
I was like, is this gonna be like Captain America? Like, it's gonna get into weird.
Bertie
like,
the Bard wants
materialism.
you.
What are these vibes gonna have to be?
So eventually you are able to copy those documents, and unless you have any other questions for the committee, you will be dismissed. Okay.
Let's go fuck up a dragon.
Round 2.
I assume you guys make your way back to Trollskull Manor.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean, I need to pick up some money out of my safe.
Absolutely.
I don't trust banks.
As you guys walk in the door, you see like your dining room and the beautiful mantle. Through the open door behind, I think is the kitchen you can see. And sitting in a chair at the head of your dining table is Keith.
Ooh.
I just thought it was going to be Zardos for a second there.
Same.
He comes in through windows. He doesn't do.
Sipping
Got
from a
to
little,
install better
little
locks.
leather flask she keeps, and as you enter, and she puts it on a little holster at her hip. Hello. I apologize for entering without permission. I did not want to be seen. I trust you've met with Marshal Traherne?
Mm-hmm.
Just came from there now.
I saw the Lion Guard leaving with you earlier, and I assumed that's where he took you. Excellent. I'm told I am to be your guide through the Silver Wastes.
Yeah. We
That's what
travel
we
in
heard.
style. It's going to be pretty exciting. Galatar will put up the tent and everything, and it's got a spa, so you know that's covered. Other than that, what do you need? You know?
Well, yeah, not even the tent anymore. We've got the entire
Yeah,
mansion
that's what I meant. That's what I meant. Yeah.
The tent mansion.
with
I
chicken if you
will-
want it.
Probably sleep under the stars.
Wait.
Hmm.
Can't I
Okay.
But I appreciate
wish
the offer.
something better?
Well, you can still use the spa if you just want to
Okay.
pop in.
Yeah, it's just like you pop in if you need to.
Yeah.
Plus, Galatar can make it look like you're under the stars while you're in the tower.
Oh yeah, I could have it reflect the actual night sky outside.
It's all right. I don't think I'd be comfortable. I don't like enclosed spaces.
Doesn't have to feel enclosed. I can make it seem as though there are no walls. For your
Is it-
section. I mean, I would still. be
Galatar
close to
brings up
ours.
an interesting existential question. Is it really captivity if it
she kinda,
doesn't
like,
feel closed?
Slowly draws a dagger out and sort of twirls it idly around her fingers and says,
Right.
people in my line of work, we have a way of sensing when we're caged in. Just makes us uneasy. She just, like, absentmindedly slips it back in. Like, it wasn't a threat. She's just, like, almost like she wasn't even thinking about it. Kind of like
What
David
if it-
Bowie in the labyrinth with the crystal balls. She's just like, she's not even looking, you know, and it's just like rolling over
Would
her
it be your
hands.
preference? We just didn't want you to feel like you know, that you had to sleep outdoors if you didn't want to. We didn't want to let you know that there were more comfortable, or maybe
Absolutely.
there were just other options.
Yeah, and feel free to bring your flask because honestly, we're a little litty a lot of the time on these things. You know,
Oh,
we
I never
we
go
like
anywhere without this.
Yeah.
Might have just picked up more drugs
I do appreciate
yesterday.
your offer, but perhaps I can help keep watch outside in the evenings. It would make me feel more at home.
Sure.
Please.
So,
Have a seat. I think we should talk.
I
I
mean,
assume
shit,
you
we
have
could-
questions.
Make a fortress.
oh, we could also do that. You know what? You sleep outside.
Yeah. So, have you been to the place we're going to before? Actually, where
Yes.
are we going? I know we're going to High Place, but where are we going?
It's a region that was once called the Silverwood when your shining blade hid there
I know that one.
many years ago. It's part of the wider Maguuma region. The jungle once stretched all the way into the heart of Kryta. The woodlands there connected in an almost seamless, single living
Mhm.
ecosystem. Now, it has become a barren, desolate place. It's nicknamed the Silver Wastes by those who roam the wilds, the few who roam. Its eastern reaches are often inhabited by bandits or other outlaws, searching for shelter far from any sort of authority, though the human Seraph, and even our Silvari wardens occasionally make sorties against particularly troublesome groups when they find them. The further west you go, the worse things get.
Hmm. Well, Marshal Traherne, I think, mentioned that we were moving towards like a high peak overlooking an area. Is that peak like just a high place, or like did it used to be something, or?
As I understand it, Traherne is looking for any place of sufficient height and size to set up a sort of base of operations. if we can find a wide plateau before the descent into the jungle, preferably looking out over the escarpment that descends into the canyons below, that would be ideal. There are such places. I have been to the Silver Wastes once before. I don't like to talk about it. It is not a place of happy memory for me. One of our firstborn died there. I can tell you that there was once a tribe of centaurs that lived along the northern reaches, but they do not dwell there anymore. Aside from that, we'll need to be wary of the usual desert predators, scorpions, snakes, perhaps the odd griffin or wyvern, but I do not believe there are any settlements there. She looks uneasy for a moment and is clearly kind of stealing her nerve. Finally, she says, I want to be perfectly candid about my motivations, which admittedly is unusual for me. Helping the Pact is critical, but I also need to find out where Fowlin went. I received a message from her a few weeks ago, and I believe she was heading into the Maguuma herself. I hope to find and stop her before she crosses a line from which there is no return.
Do you have any possessions of Fallon's or anything that once belonged to her?
She sits up straighter and looks at each of you before reaching into a little satchel at her side. And she pulls out what looks like a smooth river stone, like worn perfectly smooth and black, about the size of her palm. And as she tilts it towards you, you can see there is a beautifully rendered cameo of a Sylvari face. It is not Kaith's, and it's kind of sprouting backwards from the head, kind of like Bride of Frankenstein-like in that general direction and shape,
Mm-hmm.
are several what look like branches that are thick with leaves in a almost beehive hairdo sort of direction and shape.
Mm-hmm.
She takes a hot second, and you see, very unusual for Kaith, her hand kind of quivers a bit. She sets it down on the table in the middle of all of you and says, Fowlin. And the cameo speaks. It says, come to me, beloved. Soon the world will cower before our true power, and any who oppose us will be crushed. I know her secret.
Interesting.
That's frightening.
She
So
reaches
are
out
you
and takes
in-
it and
Oh,
puts it back
sorry.
in her satchel.
Could
Are
I see
you
that
in
for a second?
contact with her?
She stops halfway of putting it back.
It's just an idea
No,
that could
I'm-
prove very helpful to us if you wouldn't mind just a minute.
She hands it to you very hesitantly, but it's one of those things you take it from her and there's a grip in her fingers just a little bit, but she does let you take it. And she answers you, Kitri, and says, no, I have not spoken with Fowlin for over a year now. I've tried to find her, but our last meeting was less than pleasant.
So,
Once.
what's her like? What's her shtick these days? You know, because that was pretty heavy-handed.
That was pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that doesn't come out of nowhere. You know,
Like
that's.
secret.
I know her secret, which maybe you.
Who's
I am not at liberty to discuss that. Might ask
I'll
for
make
your
everyone in the
trust.
room forget if you just tell me.
Oh God, Birdie.
I'll
You-
have
you
to ask
wouldn't
for
know.
your trust in this matter.
Promised.
While Birdie is trying to manipulate cave modify memory, Galatar is going to pull out Omen and start to run the thing along the blade as he casts Scrying, using that to try and reduce Fallon's ability to evade his magic.
Do what now? Does the sword
So-
do that?
The item.
Yeah, the sword can cast Scrying. Omen's got that ability. One of the fun things it does, it can cast Scrying and Clairvoyance once per day.
Yeah.
But actually, hold on, let me double check something about that, because there was one thing I wanted to double check first.
I was just. Oh! You're talking about the thing in your hand.
Yeah,
Reducing her
yeah.
chance. Yeah. No, my bad. For some reason I heard
Oh, no,
something
no,
that
no.
the sword could do would like reduce that. I'm like, I don't think the sword does that. But no, you're right. You're right. Just ignore me.
But I did forget that it has a lower DC than me, but that's okay. We'll do it with the sword anyway, because that just seems more fun.
Mm.
But I don't know if this counts as a previous
possession or
possession of Fallon's, or just a likeness or picture.
This would be a previous possession because she
So-
had to cast a spell on it.
Okay, so it would be a -4 to her saving throw.
Yeah. And because you've
Um.
heard of her, she would get a +5 to her roll, so it'd even out to be just like a +1.
Yes. Yes, I think that's how that works. Do they stack? I don't know how the minuses and pluses work.
Like two different tables. So yeah, they interact.
Yeah. So when she rolls the save, the top table tells you what she adds to the save, if anything. And the
Gotcha.
other one is the modifier to the sword's save.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the difference between the knowledge save modifier and the connection save modifier. So it's a +5 -4 for a +1.
I think that's the other way around. But yes.
Yeah,
From what I
No,
said.
she gets
I
she
would-
gets
right.
but she gets a
Yeah.
+1 to her saving throw.
Overall, it equals
Yeah,
out to
so
a
she got
+1.
+5,
has
she got
+5, you have
-4.
-1 or -4.
Add those
so
together, +1.
Okay,
Right.
But
The point is,
because
it's just a +1.
I'm using the sword, it is only a DC 17 as opposed to my DC 19.
Okay.
So it is a lower DC.
So that
Okay.
could be seen as a DC 16. Or
One could say.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just yeah. So. And you cast that now?
Yeah.
So, I'm a stupid nerd, and I love this. So when you cast Scry, generally, you have a material component like a mirror or a pool of water that's smooth, and you use that to see the vision. The sword functions as the material component because it's a sword of omens. So you cast it and you hold the sword up and you look through the cross guard, and it gives you that sight.
Oh, cool.
And
I'm making fun of Galatar so hard.
I thought it would like
I-
reflect on the sword. I didn't realize it'd become like a sword binocular type of thing.
it's
Like you're at the
Kind of.
opera.
sword of omens. Yeah.
Yes. They don't know what that is. They don't have
Had no
sight
idea.
beyond sight.
You guys don't know about sight beyond sight? Holy shit! From the Thundercats?
They're too young.
Yeah,
Oh
I don't
my
know.
god! I am a
Ryan.
The only thing I've
dinosaur.
seen of the Thundercats was the one attempt Cartoon Network made to remake it that failed miserably.
Oh, god! This is lost on you people. No, this is dope. So you hold the sword up, and you cast your spell, and like the crossbar, kind of like
Gross.
it's ornately carved, and it's kind of curved upward like this. So when you look, the blade is between your eyes, but your eyes are in these like kind of empty negative spaces formed by the crossguard, and the vision is kind of put before you. Just for you.
On Google Images. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
check out like a YouTube, just YouTube like sight beyond sight.
Yeah, it's got to bring it right
Yeah.
up.
So
Yeah.
it does work. She rolled a 3.
Hey!
Oh.
Oh, that
I'm
is
trying
creepy.
to figure out what exactly.
Does the sword get like the little eye thing too?
The big gem in the hilt.
Yeah, like the
I
little
believe
slit
that's
thing.
in the description.
I had no idea this is what it looked like. I'm learning so
Is it-
much.
I think-
Sword of Omens.
Details page, I
I didn't
think.
realize it was the Thundercats. I don't know if Thundercats in general.
Huh.
I guess I didn't describe it like specifically, but if you click on the item like details page, it has a picture of it.
Oh, gotcha.
I can hit display in VTT. Will it actually go?
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
That's
it's
cool.
got a like a sapphire in the hilt that has the symbol of the shining blade on it.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I actually didn't know what the symbol of the shining blade was until right now either.
Yeah, it's a blade with like a radiant sun. Yeah.
Huh?
Today has been a great learning opportunity for me.
Yeah, and so this is another thing to kind of keep me on my toes because I always forget about this. So the blade is vigilant. It is a blade of warning.
Yes.
As long
Can't
as
be
you're not
surprised.
incapacitated, yeah. So basically what happens is that sapphire with that symbol kind of like glows from within faintly, and there's a
Mhm.
faint kind of like it's kind of like your cell phone vibrating. It's like, but it's like a low kind of growl, and it alerts you to danger.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, Fowlin. You see a female Sylvari. Hair, branches with leaves, hard to discern, just like you saw on the stone. In what looks like a flowing gown of green so dark it's nearly black. But the edges are travel stained and kind of haggard, with a discoloration at the bottom that lightens it to like an almost toxic looking acidic green.
Mhm.
This is clearly a woman who has seen combat and hardship in the wilderness. You hear murmured voices, and you can kind of make out other shadowy figures around her. It is very dark where she is. She herself, it's kind of odd. You've noticed this because you've been around Keytree long enough, and you've walked the streets of Lion's Arch at night. You've visited the Grove. Sylvari have interesting features to their skin that, in very dark light, they have a kind of bioluminescence. Also, it's like a thumbprint. Every Sylvari is unique, and it's faint, but it's kind of like walking into a room with a blacklight poster, and like there's just crazy neon colors. But it's subtle. It's like little dots or lines or patterns that are otherwise indiscernible in broad daylight. And you can see hers. Her skin is like a dark kind of ashy gray, but her luminescent spots and stripes are a brilliant green, like a sprout green. And her front is kind of illuminated by this subtle, soft light of almost the same color, like a sort of bright, young, almost yellowish green. And she is standing at what looks like the top of a couple of natural steps. Like they're clearly even steps, but they're broad and uneven in layout, even in height, but sort of jagged in their lines horizontally. She seems to have just kind of climbed these and has stopped. And you watch as she turns to the left and to the right, looking at the Sylvari standing beside her, and says, with a shudder, "At last. Now we take what we are owed." And she reaches her hand forward And as she kind of moves, your vision shifts, and you see that this light is coming from a large, almost egg-like kind of ovular shape set into the trunk of a massive, dark, gnarled trunk. The edges around this shape are thick with ivy that is dark, like blackish purple, and sickly looking kind of gray moss. The shape itself is brilliant and glowing with this kind of pulsing yellow-greenish light. And as she reaches forward, her hand hits it, and there's a resistance, and she pushes in. It's kind of like pushing into egg yolk. You can hear it kind of as it sinks
That's
over her
upsetting.
hand, and she follow my lead. And she takes a step and vanishes into it. Vanishing into this thing, and your vision just goes full color of this pulsing yellow greenish nasty hue.
Well, Kate, and I'll hand her back the thing. It would seem whatever Fallon was after, she has found it.
He takes it eagerly, and Kitri, with your passive perception and being a Solari, you notice that she takes it and holds it for a hot second close to her heart, and kind of like rubs it with her thumb for a moment before putting it back.
Kitri, Kate, do either of you does like a large pod that gives off like a bright green and yellow from inside like a gnarled tree? Does that ring any bells whatsoever? It seemed to be the object of her focus, and then she and her party of followers walked into whatever this thing was.
Muted.
It's alright, yep, didn't have my mic down. So you saw her walk in, and your vision kind of quit.
Hmm.
So you don't know what her party members
So I
did.
don't know
You
what her party
did
did,
hear her instruct them
Yeah.
to do something. Kitri, I believe this sounds like something you have witnessed before in a vision.
Is it?
A greenish pustule embedded in a tree.
Oh, that one. Yep. I will convey as much to the group.
Keith furrows her brow and looks very troubled. She says, when I received this, I immediately set out in search for Fowlin. I learned that the Nightmare Court have abandoned their fortress in the swamp at the edge of the Caladon forest. I found their trail leading west into the desert highlands, but I lost it. I must try to find her one last time, to turn her away from the nightmare. Otherwise, I fear she will end up like our poor brother, Balak.
So, Kito, if you've seen this in some sort of vision, do you have any idea of what it might be or what it might mean? Is it somehow related to the eyes that you described in your dreams, do you think?
Hold on, let me look up my notes.
The nightmare just kind of functions as like a foil to the dream, right? This doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the dragon stuff.
I believe the pale tree has explained to Kitri that the nightmare is a part of the dream of dreams.
Mm-hmm.
It is the intrusion of a dark force into the dream, and I believe the last time they spoke, it was revealed that the source of that intrusion is Mordremoth.
Interesting. So it does. Way to go, Paige. Put the pieces.
You are on the ball.
She's
Solving
got
the
it.
crimes.
I'm only playing dumb characters until I die.
Nobody's ever told us, like, aside from just not agreeing with the pale tree's direction, like, we don't know anything about what the Nightmare Court wants, right? Like, that's never been anything
They
that's
just
been
want
shared.
to be like. They just don't want to be sort of like bound by her, like, quote unquote rules. Also, Mary is saying, looking at her notes, we saw similar like pustules in Balak's lair.
Yes, there was a priory scholar who had been corrupted and burst forth and fought you all.
Yeah, weren't there a couple people who had been corrupted in Bloxley, right? That had been, like, turned into...
Yes.
Oh, this is not good. Do you think she's being corrupted actively by the dragon? Kate, if we're not quick, we may not be able to help her.
I have such a bad memory.
I'm going through my notes too. I'm trying to find out what the pale tree told you.
I only remember it's a
Ah.
Oh, good.
Yes. She told you that the voice you heard in your dreams, or your visions, was the nightmare, the same darkness that lurks at the heart of the Nightmare Court, though they do not fully understand it. Belak strayed too far into its depths and was lost to us, and she feared the courtiers would meet the same fate. What do they want? The nightmare seeks to control. It is the dark fury of the natural world made real. The choking vine, the toxic spore, the biting thorn that hopes to ensnare us all. The Nightmare Court, once beloved to the Pale Tree as any other of her children, have chosen to exercise their free will and walk the dark path of the nightmare in pursuit of the power it promises. It's ironic to the Pale Tree that in seeking to break the chains of Ventari's guidance, they offer themselves wholeheartedly into a much darker bondage.
50 Shades of Grey, yo.
So, do we know... Because I believe Stuart Gix and the Asura have been doing research into, like, corruption of dragons and dragon magics and whatnot. Is there any semblance of how long, like, that kind of corruption takes? Like, is it a more instantaneous thing? Because I know, like, we have the pod experience. I would assume it takes some time, but do we have any semblance of how long?
I would say you've got plenty of time during this time frame of being Lion's Arch to find this out. Yes. The Asura, notably Professor Gore, who is the sort of specialist on draconic, corruptive chaos magic research, he has theories. They have not been able to prove it, but it seems to be like intermittent. It depends on the process, the target, and the intent. So the stronger willed a target is to resist it, the longer it would take. The more physically resilient or magically resilient a target is, the longer it would take. If the goal is just to turn you into a mindless zombie, a lot less time. If it wants to invest a significant amount of power in you to make you one of its greater champions, the process might take longer. But that's not accounting for people who might give themselves willingly. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of dragon minions who have submitted to the questionnaire
Yeah.
available on the Asuran Holonet.
Because the dragon that Kralkatorix's branding was like instantaneous for creatures within its path, but then this is like to imbue a significant amount of power may take some amount of time, even if willing. Okay.
Well, and that's a whole other like unique scenario is when the
Oh.
dragons rise, when they physically fully awaken, they're capable of influencing their surroundings even in their slumber, but it's foggy. But when they are fully awakened and aware in the waking world and move for the first time, it takes a tremendous output of power to put into motion such a colossal bulk that has been asleep for so long and has absorbed so much magic. And so the release of magic is so potent and chaotic. This is what caused the brand, the rising of ore. Nobody knows about the Maguuma.
So it's
the
like
great
fission.
blizzard that Jormag caused, and then the swamping of the Underdark by Primordus.
Gotcha. Okay.
So in those situations, very little time.
So, Kate, how many days do you think it would take to get to this region if time is of the absolute essence?
We could play teleport Jeopardy.
And if Kate knows the location, but even then it would be extremely risky.
If Kate has anything from the location.
That could work.
So this would take overland on foot would take at least like 2 weeks.
Well, that's probably
Yeah,
Once
homegirl
you
dead.
leave the country road, like the highway, the Lion Road.
Mhm.
Yeah, once you leave that, travel is even slower, and as you go up into the highlands and all that stuff, it takes a little longer still, and so about 2 weeks to get to the region that she's familiar with.
You don't have anything, like Alexa said, from this region by chance, or a nearby one perhaps, that would significantly shorten our distance? We could teleport there and then trek the rest of the way.
Keith takes a long moment to herself. She doesn't really make eye contact with any of you for a hot beat. She kind of looks down, and you can see she's sort of fumbling under the table, like you see movement in her arms. And after a moment of silence, she kind of like looks up and like above you all, and you can see like her eyes are full of tears. And she says, "From what you've described, I fear it may already be too late. But this is not your burden to bear. Rather mine. I have made mistakes in my life, rushing headlong without taking the time to think and plan properly. I will wait until we are ready to move as one, until the Pact can join us and we can carve our way to the dragon's heart. And then, if destiny allows, I shall find and confront my Fowler."
Maybe we should put it to a vote as a group. Do we play it safe or act riskily?
I'm confused. What is it?
Like, do we try and teleport there faster and potentially save Valen before she turns into a monstrous creature that we have to bite and probably kill? Or do we kind of play the slow burn of traveling at a more reasonable pace, probably safer, and then only scouting out a location insofar as what they
If
wanted?
it's too late, it's too late.
Yeah, I mean, she just said it's too late. She's already in the goo.
Well, it may take a few days. We don't know how long it would take for her to complete the transformation. It may still be possible to save her. I do not know.
Hmm.
I
Brina's
guess
brother
what
was
if
pretty.
in
Yeah, but he had months of corruption. A long time.
Keith, you said Fallon's been gone for
Fallon's had years of
Yeah. But she's
corruption.
into the pod thing that is actively corrupting her, similar to the one that Balak was using to corrupt those explorers. So I don't know how long she will have to be in there before she absorbs that power and becomes what I assume would probably be the champion of Mordremoth, similar to what Brina's. Well, I guess not what Brina's brother was, but what that other creature was, maybe?
I mean, if she gives herself willingly,
Game over.
it doesn't take long. It's not like a.
It's unknown for that level of power.
I think the
It
point of
certainly
Skeletor,
reduces the time.
we're taking our time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also don't know if, if we don't take our time, if we jump in, we could face a force that we're not prepared for, that, there's a reason that we're going as a pact to do this.
That is certainly a good point, yeah. I just
Yeah,
wanted to
and-
put it to a group vote.
Unless you feel very strongly, Kate, that we should go very quickly.
Right.
I fear that Fallon has made her choice. I believe we shall have a duty to perform when we find her. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Okay.
I do not rush into that event.
Yeah.
Do you
Support
think
it.
that for some reason before this that she hadn't made her choice?
I've always hoped. Even before she revealed the darkness inside her, I always hoped she'd come around. We are all our mother's children, after all. She's saying all this very softly, like barely above a whisper. Keytree,
Mm-hmm.
I believe you saw centaurs and Fallon in a vision when you learned the draconic transformation spell. This would have been just after the White Mantle Castle. And before your big arena fight.
Ugh.
Ah, you did not know it was Fallon, I think.
No. In the desert, there were centaurs. I'm trespassing.
Yep.
I'm with my sister. She gets in a fight with a centaur. the sister turns dragon-y.
She pulled
I
on
have
some
daggers.
dark power.
I had twin daggers, and the pale tree was very sad.
Ooh, you had some
I would
daggers.
say with your passive perception, the dagger that Kaith was twirling in her hand so idly earlier looks very familiar to you. Your vision was from Kaith's point of view.
Ooh.
Ah.
Damn, Ryan, you're full of twists tonight.
Oh, that's
Playing
crazy.
the long con cards tonight, man.
Yeah,
Honestly.
for real.
Came prepared, man.
Fuck.
Yeah, Fallon pulled some dark power to change her form and kind of gird herself for battle. She
And
tried
she
to
went
entice Kaith into doing the same. You were looking for your sister. In the vision, you told the centaurs you mean no harm. You're searching for one of your sisters who spent time there before. Have you seen her? But before they could answer, Fallon started a fight. And it was just like a wholesale slaughter. And then once the battle died down, with Fallon half transformed, she's like, all you have to do is take the power you want. She went this way and flew off into the night.
Would this have been like? I guess they said like Kate had said earlier, like another firstborn had died.
She said
Based on-
another firstborn had died at a centaur camp on the northern reaches of the Silver Wastes.
Would this okay. God damn. And that wasn't the last time she saw her, right?
That was not the last time she saw Fallon.
Okay.
No, that
This
a
was
long
just
time
like
ago.
that was like the beginning of the end. Ish.
You've never really talked to Kaith
It was
about
a
it, so you're not
significant
sure.
happening. Okay, significant happening. All right. Oh, jeez. Do I know who that the other firstborn that died was? Or is it like not spoken of? Because also in that vision, something about like the pale tree was sad and that she's buried all knowledge of it and like won't speak of it.
So that... Yeah, she's buried all knowledge and memory of that so deeply that it can't be discovered through the dream, and shall not speak openly of it in that hallowed place, in her chamber. She told you trees grow deeper, thicker roots in the autumn to prepare for winter's bite. Your autumn is not yet through, but the winds of winter are stirring. When the time is right, Kaith will guide you to the truth.
Jesus. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
Kate, what else is she? Okay. Mary's like, what else do you know? I don't know. I'm still putting things together.
Fuck. Fuck. I think as Kaith is sitting there, and being sad, perhaps, Brianna's just gonna put her hand on Kaith's shoulder and say, I lost my brother to the corruption of Jormag, the ice dragon, but was able to get him back due to luck and him not completely being gone.
Yes, they sing tales of that great confrontation, even in these taverns here.
Maybe the same can happen with your Fallon, but I
That
hope
was
so.
my hope for many years. Though I fear now, perhaps may be too late. We shall see.
You never know.
Perhaps
If worst comes to worst, we will return her spirit to the Mother Tree.
if we eliminate the dragon, perhaps it frees her of the influence. Maybe it at least
Perhaps.
helps her return to who she was. A starting point at the very least.
Question.
Yes.
Even though like all knowledge is buried of that, is it like common knowledge amongst the Sylvari that like of like there was the firstborn who died, or is it just like almost like that Sylvari never existed?
Yes. No. So this particular event, like the direct memory of it, has been kind of buried. Everybody knows that your sister Wynne, Wynnne, a firstborn, passed away in the Silver Wastes after having lived for a couple of years among the Centaur tribe there, just learning from them, getting to know them.
And do we know what specifically happened?
No, you know
Okay.
that there was some sort of battle, and Wynne did not return, and that almost immediately thereafter, Fowlin left to join the Nightmare Court, and Kaith kind of self-exiled from the Grove. She just went roaming and was gone for quite a long time.
Okay.
So is the plan for us to move out today, or were we to take a day, Keith? When do you want to leave? So that'll be about 2 weeks, so
Well, the Pact is going to begin its recruitment drive soon, and it is continuing repairs on the airships. It will be several
Right.
weeks before they're ready to travel.
Yeah, we were supposed to recruit.
I didn't know the
Oh,
timeline.
we're doing the recruitment beforehand, okay.
I did get a
Oh, you
little
didn't.
mixed
Yeah,
up.
you
I
gotta
thought we
recruit
were-
the soldiers before you can do the war.
I thought we were like
Marshal
scouting the
Traherne.
location, then getting like the soldiers and bringing them there.
I was
Was
getting
like
mixed
the
Marshal
way
messages.
Traherne wanted to give you your assignment so you knew what was coming, and so you could make
Oh.
any advanced preparations. But they'll do the recruitment drive and kind of reinvigorate the Pact for a couple of weeks. But we don't need to
Oh,
RP that because
gotcha.
it's just going to be like
Okay.
a couple of weeks of long days working in the capital cities.
Yeah, that was also my confusion. I was like, yeah, we're Russian.
that
Like
was-
we'd be like a week or two early, but like
No,
it's not.
that's
No,
my
if we're
bad.
gonna be there like 6 weeks early, damn.
I'm a little
It's a long time.
little muddled this week, so that's
No.
my
No,
bad.
you're good. That was just completely misunderstood you. Okay. So they're wanting us like next to go to the capital cities is the next thing we've been asked to do.
We're putting on a show. What I forget they're called now. Just gone out of my head.
USO
Anyway.
tour?
Came the troops.
Yes, USO. Thank you.
Yes.
God,
we're
it
gonna-
just vanished.
There we are.
Well,
Arena,
Bob
swinging a
Newhart,
great
stand
sword
up.
like a golf.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about war propaganda.
So
yeah, change my spells.
with
Can
that case,
Keitri pull Case to the side before she leaves? Like, if we're all wrapped
Absolutely.
up with business.
yeah, so she gets up to make her way out and says adieu. Keitri kind of follows her to the door, maybe out the door. It's up to you.
I'll do the whole like I'm walking her out, but stop. Not quite like maybe on the staircase, like leading up to the. So it's like we're out of earshot from like the street, but also not still standing in the house. I think you and I have spoken before about some visions that I've had. Based on what you said today, something reminded me of a vision that I think I was seeing through your eyes.
She looks a little startled and uncomfortable.
And I'm
Really?
not sure how this was possible. Did I go to the...
I believe you meditated in the Pale Tree's chamber.
Ah, that's what it is.
Yeah, in the Omphalos chamber.
Yeah. So I went and talked to the Pale Tree, and a memory of looking for someone and centaurs. Is what I saw.
Her already
And-
pale green complexion goes very pale.
I'm not sure how this is like, or why this is what I saw, rather. But it was during that time when I talked to the Pale Mother that she told me to look to you for guidance.
She takes a deep breath, and you can see, like, she is shaking.
And from this vision, I don't even think necessarily this is something that the Pale Mother showed me. I don't want to say unwillingly, but like, I don't know if she meant to, because it's something that I got the sense that she's deeply saddened about, and not a memory that she brings up.
At that point, she continues to shake, her head bows, and you see tears just flow. She's not, like, ugly crying, but it is a constant stream of tears. For, like, a good couple of seconds. Like, it takes her
I'll hand her a hanky, assuming that I have one in my pocket.
You're at home, we'll say you do. She takes it gratefully. Takes a second to dab her eyes. Hands it back to you. Looks around and says, "Walk with me." And she
All right.
takes off down the street. She leads you to the north side of the city. The north road goes almost directly north out of the city wall. And beside that road is the menagerie, the temple to Melandru. She approaches, and the priests standing guard outside just nod, and she walks through the door and gestures you to follow her. She leads you to an interior courtyard with several beautiful trees and some flowering bushes, and you catch with your crazy passive perception that there's just shitloads of animals here. There's like dozens of species of birds. There's it's alive with insects, but harmless ones, honeybees, fireflies. There are squirrels and chipmunks. You see like a panther just like walking around every now and then, like strolling up, nudging somebody with its shoulder. She kind of turns to you as she's walking and says, "This place is consecrated to the human goddess, Melandru, she who protects the natural places. I visited from time to time. They know me here." She kind of drags you through a couple of side rooms. You can see like a couple of small shrines, a couple of quiet spaces for contemplation, with just seating and like an open window, some with little fountains in them. Eventually, she finds what seems to be the acolyte that she was looking for. And she just gestures. They come running over, and they don't even talk. They just kind of like lean in. Could I use the cellar, please? This is a kind of a youngish human man. Says, of course, Lady Cave. Please, it is available for your use. Just close the door behind you and exit when you are ready. Gives her a puzzled look, and she just nods like, don't worry about it. She takes you down a long stone step into darkness, at the end of which is a big wooden door, like bound with iron. She pulls it open. You can see the door itself is a heavy, heavy door. It's like 5 inches thick. And you see it's exquisitely well fitted into this frame with what looks like dried resin, kind of like what they use to bind the boards of ships with. She gestures you in, and as you guys walk in, she pulls out a little flint and tinder and lights a torch on the wall. Pulls the door behind, and you can see there's like a special lock that comes down in like 2 different bars. And as it does so, it kind of pulls the door a little snugger against the setting. She takes the torch and leads you further in. You're in some kind of like storage cellar. You see like some casks of wine and boxes of like linens and dried meats and stuff, just materials. But she says, we're very deep beneath the earth. This is one of the most secluded and private places I could think of in town. And I am going to pause the recording.
Comment on, say, the ongoing investigation.
Okay, but what are the odds Inspector Kill makes it through this whole war?
And we're back.
Did she
Right,
say
we did the math. If Birdie burns all of his spell slots every day for 7 days, he can recruit 500 people to the cause.
he can coerce 500 people to join the military?
500 people
Magically
to sign the
suggest.
document. It's binding. You are in. Congratulations.
Yeah, so our question to you, how do
the
legal
military.
contracts in Tyria work when you're magically
They
influenced
are
upon signing
not
them?
binding if you are being magically coerced.
There's
But
no
how can one
evidence.
prove that in a
Listen,
court of law?
listen, I'm sorry if they regret signing up, but I can't, there's no evidence.
Yeah, all
this
Birdie did was
effect.
play a song of inspiration to encourage.
Now, was I convincing,
Action.
compelling? Absolutely. But yeah,
Charming. No.
that is
Honestly,
unfortunate.
the entire
But,
population of Ebenhawk's going to join the war effort. So what did you two talk about? Any secrets you want to share? Things you want to catch us up on?
Nope.
Nothing good? Yeah. Well.
Cave departs and will rejoin you when it is time to set out.
Okay.
So in the next couple of days, you guys are rounded up and paired off with representatives from your hometowns. There being enough presence of the Pact in Lion's Arch, Birdie, you are sent to recruit an Ebonhawk.
Oh, there we are.
Damn, he answered it before you could ask.
Oh, we were talking about that, as whether it would be an Ebenhawk or Lion's Arch.
Yep.
How
Yep.
Birdie
I
would
heard
feel
Chris
about
laughing. I wondered what it was about.
He doesn't want to poach from Lion's Arch because those are his fans. Honestly, probably better to take from the Ebonhawk pot.
No.
Yeah.
So, a couple of long weeks pass. You guys are kept busy from sun up to sundown, hawking your wares,
I guess we're not
getting
role-playing
your hustle. Yeah, no, it's too much to role
We
play.
were
Although,
preparing for that
We
too.
were preparing.
if
I had
any of
ideas.
you would like to describe how you help recruit, I would love to hear them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
So happy.
Is this about time for the Iron Legion or the Metal Legion concert? Would it fall during the recruitment drive?
Yes.
I would say yeah. Midsummer is kind of closing in, so yes.
So I will see if I can talk to them and try to convince them to recruit for the Pact or let someone speak you know.
Absolutely, they do, because Char love General Soulkeeper. There's even a
Oh yeah,
song by
yes.
Metal Legion called Soulkeeper, and it's all about her and her fighting off the Branded
Mm.
when the Brand turned her warband against her.
Yeah, so I will try to pitch it, I guess, as like the biggest, baddest fight you're ever gonna possibly be in. It's like killing an elder dragon, you know. If
Absolutely.
you win, awesome. If you die, that's like the best possible death you could get, you know. Really,
Yeah.
it's a win-win situation for a Char. Oh, and I'll
Yep.
try to recruit Gladium too.
Hmm.
Go where they hang out, you know.
Ritlock interacts with you a little bit while you're there and kind of steers you towards the Gladium.
Mm.
The legions proper are in large part kind of geared up for the defense of the Citadel, and
Mhm.
have been you learn have been making increasingly frequent scouting missions into Flame Legion territory.
Mm.
There is a mountain range that kind of divides that section of the world into two, and the Flame Legion live in the sort of pockmarked volcanic wasteland beyond that. So the Char have been sending scouting missions over to kind of spy out where their strongholds are, what they're up to, planning for a potential kind of push against this Geheron would-be godling,
Mm.
because that doesn't sound good. So he steers you towards the Gladium, but even so, you get quite a few volunteers for sure.
Cool.
Who else? Galatar?
Yeah, I can go next. So the first thing that I want to do would be, I assume Logan is like one of the people that would be helping with gathering forces for the Pact.
Oh, yeah.
Would be to gather like a large audience, who we could talk to, and in doing so, I would want to cast, oh gosh, now I've got to go back to the name of the spell, Mirage Arcane, for where this massive audience is standing, to recreate what looks like and feels like to them this cavern floor with a flowing water source, and feels very dirty and damp, and then cast Illusory Dragon to summon a beast that I make look as much like Zaitan as possible.
This is just a scared straight program.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just scary.
But then what he would do is like erase the Illusory Dragon, and get rid of the damp setting that everyone's in, and start talking about that we've already felled one dragon, we can surely fell more, and reclaim the rest of our lands as we reclaimed Or, which I realize rhymes. But then I would want to, after that, go around the city setting up programmed illusions of different people that are well known from those districts. So that, like, I know there was the representative that we met who we had to get the paperwork from. I don't remember what district he was in, but
you know several of the ministers now, and I mean,
yeah,
Logan
but
knows them all.
I would set up programmed illusions that, like, every hour basically talked like a little spiel about joining the Pact, because they can be up to 5 minutes. They'd have like some trumpets or some sort of like
Fantastic.
hype up people behind them, and they'd point people to the local office or wherever it is, so that people could find it. And yeah, that's what I would want to do.
Awesome. Yeah, to great success. Every day they take you to a different part, like a different district, and a different stage or dais or just the top of a set of stairs, anywhere you can get your voice to project and see lots of people. Logan speaks. There are even a couple of proclamations. You see like illusory images of Queen Jenna kind of broadcast through the city at different times and different places, where she addresses people about the urgent need.
Sweet.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say Birdie, because as I recall, the people of Ebon Hawk are like,
Big Birdie fans.
yeah, well, they're more conservative, as it were. So I think he would kind of tone it down, flash wise. But I think he'd go back to his roots and like hit the bars of like, because Ebon Hawk hasn't had like anybody from the Trollskull 6 after their fight. And so he'd be like telling the tale, in all the bars he can go to, and trying to like rouse that, sell it as that like patriotic thing. Like I earned glory on the battlefield. Like, have you earned yours, kind of thing. And he'd try and drum up some stuff that way.
For the honor of Ascalon.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic.
I
Anybody
think
else?
Brina probably just like stands behind Erstagolkin for the first like day, like a couple steps behind like a kid when they're being introduced to like their friend's parents. But eventually warms up to the like public speaking persuasion elements of things. But I think she also makes a point to like sit back and talk to people who actually have questions. Like she does her best to imitate Birdie in the storytelling aspects of like, oh, and then we saw the dragon and you fight so good. But I think in like the actual I think she
It's Sabrina.
this is me. I fight this is so good. I think she thrives. She is her most compelling like one-on-one when people want to talk to her about like what would recruitment actually look like. I think that's when she's able to chat with people.
Yeah.
And she shows off the dragon teeth, obviously. It's fucking cool.
First day's a little awkward. Is like air introduces you and you step out, and as you're speaking, every time you stop to take a breath, there's this odd shout out from the audience, like, yes, that's our baby girl. Or just like your parents are like right in the front row making a big damn deal.
She's mortified.
But after the novelty wears off, it's like they go and do their own thing.
She is mortified. I love it.
Kichi, would
Anybody
you like
else?
to go?
Oh, I mean, I feel like she just tries to appeal to the other Sylvari's sense of, goodwill and, like everyone else is helping, so we should too, and, do our part.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Traherne goes with you. He is your sort of celebrity assistant.
I'm sure he's more convincing.
He is a little more practiced in the ways of public speaking, but
I'm not made for like some sort of
I don't know. I would say
good in public, okay? I'm just
what
good
Kitri-
at, helping my friends out. I'm just here. Please help us with our cause. Traherne has more details here. Would you like a pamphlet?
I would
It's
say
just-
Kitri, what Kitri lacks in eloquence, she makes up for with her genuineness and her sort of straightforward charm. Yeah.
That
Don't
was the most
scoff,
beautiful-
Jimmy.
I didn't
That was
say
He has
anything.
straightforward charm. There's no scoffing.
Yeah.
That wasn't me.
Oh, Jimmy, I thought it was your
I'll
scoff.
take it.
That
I was
beautifully
probably
soft,
scoffing
like,
at
fear of
myself.
missing
I mean, you
out
might
appeal.
scoff at what I'm going to do.
I will probably scoff.
Which brings us to Alexa.
So yes, we had discussed that it was going to be like a USO show.
Oh god.
So who's my, first off, just because you mentioned it and I'm curious, now who's my handler?
Stuart Gix.
Oh, great. Yep. So using like a programmed illusion also for mine, I want to use some of the time to set up a show, and it will, of course, for like the USO, it'll be a burlesque show.
Okay.
So gotta have
for the notorious bookworms.
right. You gotta get them
love it.
excited for war and have some fun. So it'll be like the programmed illusion will be the old school ball in front of the dancers and myself. I'll get my simulacrum to come along too. We'll have the
Are you
twin effect.
performing in the burlesque show?
Well, of course.
I am
Yes.
scoffing.
Make her perform.
Performance check, please.
Question: is the Asoran Burlesque show to the music of that like one really popular certain artist? Because that would be even better.
Aka.
The heavy
Or
metal.
whatever her name is. Yeah, it's just like a heavy metal burlesque show, the
Aggro.
greatest thing you've
Aggro.
ever seen.
So, yeah, it's like that scene in True Lies where Jamie Lee Curtis is stripping, and when she finally starts to like kind of cut loose, there's a guitar chord. Yeah, Agra sitting there like playing on her. I imagine it's like a keytar, not like a guitar.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You draw the crowds, and between between a little kinky entertainment and some sound reasoning from the steward, just some good recruitment. It is not difficult to recruit people, with all of you taking the time to spend the time in the cities, getting to know folks, letting them see you, that you are a real person, that yes, there is a legend, but yes, I am your height, or I can bleed, I have flesh, I am human, or Char, or Norn. And yeah, so several weeks go by, and eventually you all reconvene in Lion's Arch, and you return to a city changed. There are a couple dozen airships now hovering just above water level in the harbor, still tethered to their docking moors with long planks and rope ladders kind of attached. It seems like the provisioning has been accomplished. But you also see there has been a upswell in infantry, in cavalry. There are horses. There are little Asura on what look like large ostriches with beaks that are shaped kind of like the blade of an axe. There are some Silvari that are mounted on what look like really large lizards. It's like the size of a great big crocodile, but the legs are actually more almost lupine, like runnable. So yeah, they've got a couple mounted divisions. There are a handful of Char you see that kind of hang out on the outskirts of the windward anchorage. There's a big area just outside that section of the town, formerly used for some livestock holding, that is now housing what looks like a handful of Char siege tanks that are going to be rolling along in the column, kind of to help clear the brush and provide some extra firepower if need be. And yeah, preparations complete, and the day arrives. You all are much lighter in traveling, so you will move faster than the column. But everyone kind of sets out together in this grand martial parade, deliberately, it would seem, going out the west gate through the windward anchorage, almost like a deliberate show of force to the scum and villainy that live on that end of the lower city, to remind them what's coming back home should they misbehave. There are plenty of lion guards staying behind, of course, but there's a moment, even though you're traveling through this section, like there are families and even some of the grizzled and roughest looking sailors come out of their dark taverns in the early morning to, if not cheer, at least to nod and kind of grin appreciatively as this force as it passes through on a mission that they agree with.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is Kolinar going this time?
This time,
fight?
no.
Okay.
Kolinar is staying behind to help keep an eye on things in Lion's Arch.
Okay.
Also, really quickly, in that 2-week period, there was, if I could, I wanted to use Wish to cast the spell Sequester on Grimace, because it re-erases the need for the material components for that spell, which normally would be 5,000 gold pieces worth of stuff. So that I have the ability to just summon him when needed.
Sure. Man, Wish is a crazy spell.
Yeah.
Becomes invisible
Yeah, I mean A2 is traveling with us too, for that matter. But she doesn't really say much.
Or sorry, it's sequester, and then there's another spell I wanted to combine that with. There were two
I
spells.
say sequester turns it
A2 is a
invisible.
good-
Sequester is to protect him, but there's a spell. I've got to go back through my list because there's a spell that lets you summon an object or thing to you.
Dromji's instant summons, I think.
Ah, yeah, maybe that's it.
Did you have to
I
like
think
crush a
it's an
ruby?
object.
You haven't drugged him yet, did you?
I think
Well,
it is an
yeah,
object too.
That's my other question. I don't know what Grace counts as because he's a construct,
He's a
right?
construct, so he's a creature.
Okay, so he does count as a creature. Cool. Gotcha. Well,
Creature
in that
is like
case,
the top of the kingdom chain kind of thing.
I will just put him. Then never mind. I will go ahead and cast sequester, but I want to put him in my demi plane first.
Okay.
So he's actually safe.
Make a note so I
Ooh.
don't forget.
Could you use wish symbol with wish to make it instantaneous?
Oh yeah, symbol.
Yeah, damn. This spell's so cool.
Wish is fun.
So fun.
All right. Ah, and with that, I think this is a good time to call it for tonight because my fever's coming back.
Oh,
Oh, good time for sure.
Again.
yeah. Let's
little
stop
burning
here.
behind the eyes. I think this is a good time.
A little burning.
Appreciate y'all playing. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Heck
Yeah,
yeah.
thank you. Seriously.
Next
Yeah,
time,
so
we
many
will-
plot twists.
And I meant to
Yeah.
text you. Last session was so fun. That was such a treat. Like
Mhm.
The festival.
That was so much fun.
I hoped you
It was
guys
a lot
would
of
like
fun.
that. So yeah, next time we will begin with we'll probably hand wave the journey to the Silver Waste, but we'll start when you guys get there and are able to kind of mark your passages. Probably be a
Okay.
skill challenge.
Yeah.
and we're playing
Wednesday.
Wednesday the
Wednesday?
26th?
I
Are we
should be
for-
good for the 26th. I don't know what's happening after, but
Okay.
it's fine.
Just let us know.
I will. I think that's a good plan.
6:30
And
still
I-
good?
Mm-hmm.
Guys, I'm beat. I gotta.
You too, dude.
I gotta grade some lab reports.
Have fun there, Teach.
Let's be able
Those
to distract you
kids-
just a bit.
Those kids who don't know how to cite sources.
Those
Mm.
kids.
Dude, I
Mm.
stop that recording.